Now, departments might be able to make an offer of admission conditional on you submitting an English language test result, but it's really going to vary department to department. So I can't guarantee one way or the other that that's going to happen. It's in your best interest to submit an English language test score with your application documents. If you know when you're taking the test and it's past the deadline for when all documents have to be in, just notify the department and say that you're registered to take the test on such and such a date, and let them know when they can expect that test score in. So that's with English language. Now, some departments, not all, but some departments may also admit you with an ESL requirement, which means your IELTS, TOEFL, or CALE score is slightly below our minimum requirements. So then they might place you in Carleton's Foundation program or Credit ESL program. So what that means is you'd be placed in ESLA 1500 or 1900. So you'd be taking another half credit or full credit in addition to the ESL course, and that's credit to your program. So you're still admitted into your program. There are just additional requirements for you that you have to meet in order to continue on in your program. The other thing I'll mention, you will see in here, there's information about a qualifying year program. A lot of students get confused about qualifying year programs. At Carleton, there's no generic qualifying year program available for graduate level study. This is very specific to each unit at Carleton, and generally you need to have a recommendation by the department to take a qualifying year program. It's very specific. They're generally made up of 3rd and 4th year undergraduate courses, and there's no guarantee that you would progress into a master's. You generally have to reapply to the master's program after completing that qualifying year. So just to make you aware of what that qualifying year program actually is. And I think that's pretty much the general information that I have. And so now I'd like to invite people to ask questions, either specific questions about particular programs, or if you have general questions about graduate studies at Carleton, I'd be happy to try and answer those for you. Okay, yeah?
I just would like to know, first of all, I want to thank you for that. Secondly, I would like to apply, I'm intending to apply to the computer science, the program for PhD computer science. I understand that it's a joint program between the Ottawa University and the Carleton.
Yes.
So they are doing separate applications processes. I mean, I applied to Ottawa University, I have a potential supervisor there, and I have also another one here in Carleton. So would that be a problem for me, or is it okay?
All right, that's a very good question. So the question has to do with the joint institutes, in this case the Joint Institute of Computer Science, which is a joint institute between Carleton University and the University of Ottawa. And we have a number of joint institutes in the Faculty of Science and in the Faculty of Engineering and Design. So if you're applying to engineering, all of our engineering programs are joint institutes, and most of our sciences, computer science, chemistry, physics, that sort of thing. When you apply, you want to be applying to the university that has the supervisor that you're interested in working with. So if you have a potential supervisor in both the University of Ottawa and Carleton, you really need to narrow down which one you want to go for. And the way you do that is you contact them. Now, faculty members get emails from students all the time. So they really don't have time to respond to everyone's email. So my suggestion, if you are reaching out to a faculty member, email is the best way. And you really want to be clear, concise, to the point. You don't want a big, long email, because they'll just delete that because they have no time to read through. And you really just want to emphasize that you know what their research is about, what your research interests are, and how it ties into what they're doing. So that's when you're emailing faculty members. But in terms of applying to joint institutes, you would want to submit your application to the university that has the supervisor you're interested in working with. Now, if you were to apply to, let's say, Carleton, and your application is passed around the department, there's really no supervisor available to take you, we will send that application to the University of Ottawa for consideration there automatically, and vice versa. if you were to submit an application to the University of Ottawa and you weren't admissible there, your application will be sent to Carleton for consideration. That's part of what the Joint Institute is. And when you are enrolled in a Joint Institute, you're enrolled in the university you've applied to. So if you apply to Carleton, you're a Carleton student. But you're taking you will take some of your courses at the University of Ottawa, and you have access to faculty members at the University of Ottawa as well. Does that clarify it?
Okay, before the second question, guys, I know like some of you or many of you are having difficulties applying to Carleton University, and today we are here to help and to assist you guys. So if anyone has a question, don't be shy, just raise your hand and say your question. We will try our best. So yeah, this is just a piece of advice. Continue.
There was another question?
I just had a question about the undergraduate. Like for me as a bachelor student,
Yeah.
I did 1 year in my back home.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get credit for these courses that I did before. So do you know how can you know the process that I have to go through?
Alright, and you're a current bachelor student at Carleton?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, if you are applying to a bachelor program at Carleton, you have to go through the undergraduate admissions office, which is in Robertson Hall. I should mention that the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs, or my office, is in room 512 Torrey Building. It's on the top floor of the Torrey Building, which is just connected to this building here. So in terms of undergraduate admissions, they're in Robertson Hall. So if you are a current student in the bachelor program at Carleton and you want to go and see if you can get that course or courses you took in your first year to be applied to Carleton, you have to go to that office to see if they can do a transfer of credit for you. Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, because the register office, they said I have to submit application there, but there's one of my friends, they said go to Robertson. That's why I was confused which one.
Yeah, if you're a current student, the admissions office has to do the transfer. It'll end up going to the department generally that you're trying to transfer the credit into,
Okay.
but it's the undergraduate admissions office that can deal with that. Yeah. There was a question over here.
Yeah, actually I did submit it before 7 months.
Okay.
And nobody answered to me.
Okay. It's not unusual after you submit an application to not hear anything from the department. So you really have to be active and email the department to find out what the status of your application is. Generally, you probably won't be notified about anything to do with your application until a positive decision has been made. So until you have an offer of admission. So until that point, you really have to be networking with generally the graduate administrator in that department. Alternatively, you can send me an email with your student number, and I can see what I can find out for you as well. Yeah. And if you did apply directly to the department and not through the Saudi Cultural Bureau, that's fine. But it's a good idea just to send me an email and let me know that you are a funded student, so that I can help better able to help you through that process. Yeah. Some other questions? Program questions? What program was it that you applied to?
Biology.
Biology?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's not unusual that.
Actually, I have another question.
Yeah.
I have bachelor degree in biology, and also I have diploma education. I would like to continue my master in education.
Okay. We actually don't have a Master of Education program at Carleton. We have the Master of Science Biology, but we don't have an education program at Carleton.
I want to ask you if you have any idea about Master of Architecture program, because I applied and they require 70 MCAT test.
Yeah.
And if there is any possibility to take a conditional acceptance, because all my documents are there.
Yeah. That's going to be up to the architecture department. I don't know what their policy is regarding that. What they're going to likely do first is look at your academics and your reference letters and all the other stuff that's required for that program. And they probably won't look at that. They're probably looking at it now and into March, so you probably won't hear anything until mid-March on a decision. Have you submitted your CALE test yet, or?
No, not yet. Because I'm studying at Carleton College.
Okay.
But some students told me that they can take the credit and I can get a lower mark in CALE, but if I studied and finished the last level at Carleton College.
Like what she says, like is the English program at Algonquin College certified by Carleton University?
No.
The ESL courses.
The ESL program at Algonquin is not certified at Carleton, so passing Algonquin College's ESL program level 8 won't be sufficient to meet our minimum ESL scores. So you have to submit a language test as part of the application. Now, chances are, if you are completing Algonquin level 8, and if you do have a B minus from that program, then you should have no problem with CALE, IELTS, TOEFL, with meeting those requirements.
The test timing is terrible.
Yeah, the CALE test is administered at Carleton, in the School of Linguistics, so that's probably the best option for you in terms of times. Yeah, but we will need to have a score generally in order to process an application. We'll need a score. Now, the architecture department may process the application without that score, but it would be conditional on you meeting that ESL requirement. So if you were given an offer, you would have to submit a CALE score of 70 in order to register in that program.
I have a question. So how do they know which programs accept the ESL bridging program at Carleton, like for the grad level?
You would be notified that in an offer of admission. It would be a conditional, or you would be notified by the department. It's really department to department. The credit ESL program at the graduate level is fairly new. It's been going on at the undergraduate level for a number of years. We're just sorting through some of the formalities and processes for the graduate level. So not all graduate departments are even aware that this is an option for students. So it's something that we're working on for fall. But there's really no list of departments.
So let's say I got 50 in the CALE and I want to apply for a Master of Architecture program at Carleton. How do I know before I apply, or like I know if they will accept the English proficiency of mine or not in this situation?
You would have to contact the graduate administrator in the department to find out if they would accept that. Yeah. Before applying. Yeah?
I did my bachelor's degree in English literature. Do I have to take any ESL exam?
If you studied, if the bachelor degree in English literature was taught in English, and the whole program was taught in English, then no, you don't have to do an English language test, but you have to submit proof that that degree was taught in English. Normally it appears on the transcript that it was taught in English. If it doesn't, then we can accept a letter from that university registrar, or the person in charge of the university, to say that that degree was taught in English, and that will meet the requirements, so you won't have to submit an English language test.